Welcome to No Room for Phonies.
Episode 145, The Sage and the Saboteurs.
Yeah, so we thought that we'd just follow up on the book, the Positive Intelligence book, by just kind of talking about what we've learned and some of the research that I did on the Sage and the Saboteurs and how we've kind of come to terms with ours and some of the things that we're trying in order to spend more time in our sage mindset
and voice.
Yes. So it's basically the sage is the positive emotions, the empathy, the compassion, the gratitude, and the joy. And it fosters more creativity and big picture awareness and calm and focused attention. And it releases the endorphins that counteract stress.
And the sage brain is this is where the middle prefrontal cortex is activated. It's considered the empathy circuitry of the brain, and it is the part of the brain that also can change and grow as you get older. It's not frozen or stuck. So working on your sage brain is possible for your whole life. And the motivation of the sage mindset in this thinking mode, the motivation comes from positive emotions, and it creates a sense of ease and alignment.
So when I've read other books about finding your balance, then now that I've experienced the ability to kind of use these positive intelligence reps, like deep breaths or, the
vagus nerve.
Yeah, those kinds of things to help you get into the sage brain mode. I always feel more quiet and balanced when I've done it.
Yeah.
And then I can make a decision from a sage place rather than an emotional
the judge
upset
voice.
Or the judge voice.
Yeah, the judge voice or one of the saboteurs, which is part of the brain. We'll get into that more.
So
later.
the positive intelligence, the whole program basically defines the sage powers as mental abilities that counteract saboteurs or self-sabotaging thought patterns. And so there's 5 powers, and one of them is empathize. So basically self-compassion and a deeper understanding and forgiveness for others.
Exploring means approaching situations with curiosity and an open, non-judgmental mind to truly understand what is happening. So it's not reactive. It's
questioning.
It's questioning and being curious.
Yes. Oh, that's a moth. Just flew right into me. Innovate means you unlock your creativity to generate fresh, unbiased solutions to complex problems. So instead of saying, no, I don't see that working, sometimes you can just like 10% of something and build on it from there. Sometimes you can just say yes and try it. So that's more of a sage approach to problem solving than the more negative.
Right.
Oh my God, what has happened? Yeah.
Resistant to change. The navigate skill guides you in choosing the best path forward when you are faced with multiple options.
And the activate transforms ideas into actionable steps and takes action without interference from saboteurs. So you really, before you go forward and do something, you really get yourself into that sage space.
Mindset.
And so, as you were saying, the sage lives in a different region of your brain, and the sage generates positive emotions while it's handling life's challenges. So what he says, if you feel a negative emotion for more than 1 second, then you should start moving into a sage mindset, which doesn't make the problem go away. It's not
magic.
No. And it's not even that you can't feel sad or today I was listening to the one and it's either accept or convert. And so I was thinking about some of the things that we've had to deal with. Like sometimes you're only at the spot where you can just accept that that's what has happened.
Yep.
And then at the next stage, you convert that to something good or something positive coming out of it.
Yeah.
So I like that idea of it's okay to just accept that something's happened.
Right. And the emotions that that can happen at that moment are empathy, compassion, gratitude, curiosity, the joy of creativity, being calm and clear-headed, and having laser-focused action. So the sage brain leads you down that path rather than you just spinning out or freezing or fighting.
Right. And that's how endorphins are create, that's how they're released.
Right.
Is by going into the positive, not the negative.
And then that fights the negative impacts of stress-induced cortisol.
So the one that I have been studying a lot, like in the last week, has been the empathize, and he has stressed empathizing, like cultivating empathy for yourself. Because if you can't love it's like the oxygen mask thing. If you can't love yourself, then you can't love other people. So
and some of it means like looking at yourself and your struggles and your past maybe, and just like,
and it's the inner critic that gets in the way.
Yeah, and accepting that that's who you were and that those were the experiences that you had, and that you don't have to stay stuck there. But being empathetic that yes, it was a hard time, or it was a traumatic experience, but that is in the past.
Yes, and so you can just engage in self-compassion exercises, and what he did is having you visualize yourself as a child and having empathy for your little life, right? And so that was a lot of what it involved, so that you can really get in touch. The one thing that I did like that was part of it was when he said that not all situations allow you to be empathetic towards a person, like
towards other
to
people.
Others.
Yes.
Like not all situations is empathy the right action.
Right.
Actually, in
if
some cases,
unsafe people.
Yes, then
you don't empathy towards unsafe people.
So, which helped me, because at the first part, I was just kind of trying to think, okay, so I'm supposed to have empathy for everyone, and it's like, yeah.
But then he talked about discernment being another one.
Yes.
Of the sage, sage brain.
Anyway, it was just interesting. Learning a lot about it. And then the next power is explore. So explore is like, he calls it the anthropologist.
Oh, being an anthropologist.
Yes.
Being curious and looking at things from different angles.
Yeah.
And thinking of different contexts why things would be the case. So exploring taps into childlike curiosity and openness. And it involves an enthusiastic and non-judgmental approach to discovering new ideas, perspectives, and solutions. It promotes an open mindset that's essential for navigating crises and complex challenges.
So the judge and the stickler are the things that can stifle our exploratory thinking. And so he just encourages things like asking open-ended questions, and really the game that he talks about is the fascinated anthropologist, trying to figure out what's going on sort of under the surface of things. So then there's the sage power of innovate, which is when you break free from conventional thinking to create new and effective solutions. So once you've kind of explored everything, then you want to innovate. And it requires an environment where creativity is valued and supported. And you can help cultivate this environment by modeling adaptive thinking and optimism.
This kind of plays into, how when you're you're caught in a cycle of repeating the same mistake and the
Yes.
same reaction, and you say do things twice,
Yeah.
you're you're crazy. The definition of crazy is doing
Do the same thing over and over
again
and
without any change
and expecting to get this
better. Yeah.
different results or whatever.
So the innovate power is what breaks you out of those cycles.
But for those who like control and for
And
those who like to avoid
avoid.
problems, it's a more difficult. So
Yeah.
it talks about brainstorming sessions, and the game that he says is you say yes to every idea, but then you expand on it. So
And then you
yes, and yes,
and.
when someone shares a new idea, yes, what I love about that idea is and so with that approach, every idea is appreciated rather than judged before the next one is generated in reaction to it. So it's like building blocks,
Yep.
right?
And the next sage power is navigate. Navigation is needed when decisions have to align with deeply held values and long-term goals, but there might be more than one path. And it's about using an internal compass to steer through all of the complexities of life and staying true to your deeper
Right.
values. And so the saboteurs that get in the way are external pressures, and like the pleaser and the hyperachiever. They might distract from genuine fulfillment.
Right. And so the thing that you have to do yourself is to spend time identifying and articulating your core values and principles, so that as a pleaser, you're not trying to just like do what everybody else wants, really knowing deep down what you want. And then it being more than just about achieving something, it's actually about doing the right thing according to yourself,
Right.
to your own purpose, or to what is actually morally
Upright
or
yeah.
makes sense.
The game that he suggests is called Flash Forward. And so when you're faced with a fork in the road, you imagine yourself in the future looking back at the choices you're now facing, and then you decide which you wish you had chosen at that point.
Yeah.
So this
And it kind of gets you to look at it and go, if I'm like 10 years down the road and I look back at this situation, how will I feel about what I did and what I chose?
Yeah. And will it be trivial or will it have mattered?
Yeah. And then the final sage power is to activate. And activate is actually about transitioning from contemplation to action with clarity and focus.
So no more navel gazing.
No.
Get up and do something.
Yeah. And you need it when it's clear that what the course of action is to take. And this power allows you to move into pure action without procrastinating, being distracted, or any interference from saboteurs. So suppose you decide to forgive someone who has wronged you. In that case, the activate power helps you to proceed with that action clearly and effectively, free from negative emotions like anger or resentment. So saboteurs like the victim and the restless person get in the way because a victim
They both generate
victim.
Anxiety and they
Right.
distract from the goal oriented.
The victim is
navel gazing, poor me, and the restless person has 100 things that they want to do.
Or just do 100 things to avoid what they should do. So goal setting and planning is part of the application of this. So he talks about the mental fitness exercises, the PQ reps that he has as part of his training. But the power game is to actually preempt the saboteurs by putting yourself in the shoes of your top saboteurs and trying to anticipate how they're going to sabotage your actions, and then anticipate the thoughts they would put into your mind during the action and the lies that they're going to use to justify your thoughts. And once you anticipate that, you're able to intercept
it's basically
them.
like spying on your own saboteurs.
Yes,
ahead of the
on your
ahead
own
of
self.
time. Yep.
So, yeah, but you kind of have to stop and like for me, one of the things that I like to do when I first wake up in the morning before I grab my phone or anything is just to take 5 deep breaths, because that's a PQ rep.
Yes.
So it just kind of
it
slows
sets
everything.
the vagus nerve, and it just starts the day.
And I think one of the things that the PQ reps do really extremely well is actually just slow every part of your body down. Like your breathing is slow, your motions are slow.
Your sensory.
You start. One of them is to like scan your body and start at your head and feel tension and then release tension. I mean, these things are not new, and I've read about them in other
books. Absolutely.
In other books. It's just the way that once you've done that, then you have to move forward. You can't just.
So the difference between the PQ reps and, for example, mindfulness or gratitude is, yes, gratitude and journaling is fine, but then you move forward. You
have to go through the steps, the sage powers, and use them. Like first, have empathy for yourself. Yes, I'm sad about this, or I'm angry about this, or I'm whatever about this. But then you have to move on to the other things of exploring and looking at it from different angles, and then coming up with solutions.
If I ask somebody for help and they say something, and like rather than toss the whole thing out, I could say, what's 10% of what they said that I could go with? Does it align with my values? Yes, it does. So which voices in my head are telling me not to do it? Okay, then ignore those or plan for the fact that they might be saying things, and then move on it.
Yeah, so it just doesn't allow you to stay sort of stagnant in this like place where you're just feeling gratitude, and just never moving forward with anything. So
I would say it's one of the better self-help approaches I've read in 30-something years.
Yes, because as soon as you start feeling agitated, like even if it's just for a second, then I either, like for me, sometimes I just will touch something and feel it, like really take a moment and feel what it feels like, or I'll close my eyes and just hear, or I'll sit and feel my feet on the floor so that I'm grounded.
And just feeling
for 10 seconds.
Just feeling gravity pulling you down is something. And breathe.
And for 10 seconds.
Or 2 breaths.
And then I can take a new perspective on it, because I've gone, wait a minute, if I don't do this, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole of my saboteurs, which begin as your early protectors.
Yeah, so as a child, your saboteurs help you deal with real or imagined threats to your physical and emotional safety. But by the time you're an adult, you no longer need them. Yet they still live in your mind, because we have those videos, those patterns.
And they make patterns.
They're neural pathways that are there and repeat. And
and this is what he's saying. When you do this, like breath work, the touch, the sound, the body scanning, the visualization, whatever you do, it's starting to create new neural pathways. And it's researched.
And it's researched.
He's not just making it up.
No, this is not woo-woo. This is definitely researched. And then the thing about those pathways, those old childhood pathways, is when they are triggered, they take over. And that's when you feel, think, and react based on old and unhelpful patterns. And you can sometimes even think, like after you've had some kind of outburst, or you've acted a certain way, you've said something, you're like, where did that come from? Why am I... why am I being like this?
Yes.
So,
and you can avoid that by, working on these,
using the PQ reps.
And they saboteurs come from fear, guilt, shame, anger, regret, or just negative self-talk. And they'll try to, all of these saboteurs try to convince you that these patterns help you.
Yeah.
That it's good for me to be angry. I have reason to be angry. I have reason to feel that way, but it doesn't accomplish anything.
And the judge is the leader. That kind of takes advantage of what the others are doing and
like one
really
of the
tries to
things it can
control.
do is just criticize you for every mistake, because it'll convince you that if you criticize yourself all the time, then you'll get better and better and better. But instead of helping, it just drains your energy and keeps you stuck in negativity. And I think what he's trying to say through all of this is we sabotage ourselves when we don't get ourselves into positive frames of mind that actually move us forward, when we're stuck in all these negative things that it doesn't help us.
It doesn't help us at all.
It doesn't help us at all. And saboteurs don't like to let go. They keep your mind stuck in stress and frustration. It's like holding your hand on the hot stove, and that pain makes it hard to see clearly or respond in a wise or sage way. And that's a really good illustration of it. It's like your hand is on this
hot stove, and instead of
but
go,
when you touch something hot, or if I grabbed your arm right now and pinched you really hard, that's all you're thinking about.
Yep.
Is getting away
from the pinch.
From that, or just your brain can't even figure anything out. So when you stop that thought, put a cold compress on it, do what you need to do, say, please stop pinching me, then you can
recollect your thoughts and move on.
And that's what all those visualizations and all that stuff is about, is just resetting your brain, and it builds new neural pathways that are positive instead of negative.
Right. So next we'll go through the 10 saboteurs. The judge is the master saboteur. It is universal. Every human has it. And it's the voice in your head that criticizes you for mistakes, worries about the future, and focuses on what's wrong with you, your life, and other people. So it's about judging you as yourself, judging other people, and judging circumstances.
Right.
It's often the loudest saboteur, and it stirs up the other ones.
And it increases your stress and makes you feel less happy and less confident. It also hurts relationships and limits your ability to perform at your best, because it can say to you, well, that's a terrible situation. Like, you there's nothing you can do to help that person, instead of like kind of going, okay, where's the piece where I fit into this? How can I help? What can I do to make it better? And starting through the sage steps, and maybe empathy is the thing you need to do right at that particular moment.
Or discern. Because the judge is universal, it also means that it's contagious. If somebody is judging...
Well, you've seen that in meetings. In your workplace,
in life,
if somebody walks
in and says something negative, then everybody jumps on the bandwagon all of a sudden, or slides into negative. Or the ones who don't agree with the negative comment freeze and wither away into little corners and don't say anything. So we thought that we would just talk about our major saboteurs rather than... We don't have the same ones.
I was going to actually look up on my...
Okay. While you're looking up, I'll talk about my first one.
Because I just want to make sure I talk about the right ones. So you go ahead and start
talking. So my first one is the avoider saboteur. So the avoider focuses on the positive and what's pleasant in an extreme way, and avoids difficult and unpleasant tasks and conflicts. So that's me. That's my saboteur. I shouldn't say that's me, but... there were times when I was a child that things were difficult or unpleasant around me. So I would escape in my mind into like daydreaming and thinking positively about things in a kind of blind, dishonest way, just so that I could cope with what was happening. So that's what happens now as an adult, which is not very helpful or productive at all. It's under your profile. Oh, you have to sign in.
Oh, no. It's under my profile?
Go to the app.
Okay, sorry. I'm...
The next...
What's the next one?
The controller.
I think I have that one, but I'm just trying to figure out where it is on my...
Okay, I'll go to my next one.
Okay, you go.
My second one is the hypervigilant saboteur. So hypervigilant creates continuous, intense anxiety about all the dangers around you and what could go wrong, causing vigilance that can never rest. So the story that he gives is the village where the person is asked to go to the edge of the village to watch for the tiger coming. And this person, the hypervigilant person, hears every sound, every creak, every rustle, thinks it's the tiger, and cries wolf or cries tiger so many times that it's effective. And then when the tiger actually comes, the danger isn't identified. So it's just intense anxiety about all the dangers around at all time. Okay, so that's 2 of mine.
Yeah, so go back to controller, because that was actually my highest one is hyper rational.
Okay.
So the hyper rational, you went by it.
There it is.
The hyper rational creates an intense and exclusive focus on rational processing of everything, including relationships. So it can cause you to come across as intellectually arrogant. So I can see that. Like when somebody says something that's ridiculous in my head, then I can quickly go into, are you kidding me? Like,
there's
that's
no
ridiculous.
logic to that.
That's ridiculous. Right. So that's one of my, and of course it's fine because I'm fixing the situation with rational thought. Like,
right.
Well, how can that be bad?
Right. And your childhood, there was a lot of irrational things happening.
Yes.
So your
my rational
is,
and that's why controller is my was my second one. And it's just anxiety based need to change or take charge or control situations. When this is not possible, then you feel anxiety, which leads right to my other one, and impatience, which is the stickler. Like, I like people to come on time, to do what they say they're going to do.
The stickler thrives on perfectionism and the need for order and organization, but it can be taken too far.
Yes. And I actually have hypervigilant later down too. And, but they're quite low. My victim is low, and restlessness. I had zero and avoider. I have 0.
Yeah, you don't need to avoid. You just jump right in.
So, but those 2 I actually had 0.
The other thing we just need to remind people, when you take the assessment, it is a snapshot in time.
Yes.
And the saboteurs, we have all 9 of them usually, or maybe 6 or 7.
Well, I can feel like a victim or a rest. Like, I do have a little bit of victim and hyperachiever, but
you have avoider in one area. Dentists.
Yeah. That. And a restlessness, I just don't tend to do that.
No, you don't.
I don't.
You always have something to do. You don't.
I do have something to do, but
with purpose. It's not.
I'm happy to be by myself, like doing nothing.
Yeah, you don't need to.
I don't need to.
You don't need to be busy.
Yeah. So to conquer your.
Wait. We haven't done all of them. We just did our 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. I talked about
the hyperachiever. Is the person who depends on constant performance and achievement for self-respect and self-validation. This voice quickly discounts the latest achievement, always needing more.
So you get to be the CEO, but now you want to own the company.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
So
the hyper-vigilant was me.
The pleaser
indirectly tries to gain acceptance and affection by helping, pleasing, rescuing, and flattering others. As a result, they lose sight of their own needs and can become resentful.
I would say that I have kind of conquered that saboteur over time.
Yeah, it used to be a lot stronger.
It was a lot stronger. And the restless spurs constant busyness and a search for greater excitement in every activity. They're never peaceful or content.
And then the victim, that's one of mine, causes you to be emotional and temperamental as a way to gain attention and affection. So you play, oh, poor me,
and you grew up in a very victim oriented household where to get attention, that's pretty much what you had to do.
What you had to do. But not just me. It was
modeled.
It was
modeled for sure.
And it creates an extreme focus on internal feelings, particularly painful ones. So, the people that overshare about their personal woes and kind of even like off topic at the weirdest times have a story to say that's something about themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. That's the
their victim. So to
I
conquer,
think I've overcome that a bit.
oh yes, well, because I'd ram you in the ribs if you kept
No.
doing it. No, not kidding.
Anyway.
Anyway, to conquer your saboteurs, you need to exercise and build the 3 core components of mental fitness.
And exercise means these
little-
vagus nerve
yeah.
exercises. Yeah.
If you're in a negative emotion for more than a second, you're in saboteur mode. Label your thoughts
It could just be the judge or
Yeah.
one of the other ones.
and emotions in that moment as saboteur and let them go.
Hmm.
And you let them go by taking a deep breath, by touching, by doing whatever. To be able to do that, you need to have studied your saboteurs and discredited their lies and limiting beliefs.
So it's worth buying the book or listening to the audiobook.
Right. And you can go online and do a saboteur assessment.
Yes, for free.
So for free.
Hmm.
So that is the journey that we are on. I've been on it. I think mine is like 4 weeks now or 5
Yeah,
weeks.
and I'm on week 7.
Yeah. So I would say that one of the main things that this has done for me is to slow me. Like I'm a deeply feeling person. Like
Yeah.
that's part of who
Cool.
I am. But to take those feelings, like when they start arising in me, like feeling frustrated or angry or whatever, and be able to actually take a deep breath and think, no, I don't want to be like this stickler or this controller or this judge or this whatever of myself or others or anybody. And just to stop that and then choose a different way is very empowering.
It is. Absolutely.
So anyway, that's it for us. And I'm going to I've put the website for Positive Intelligence up so you can have a look at it for
On the
yourself.
blog? Yeah. And I'll link to it in the notes below the YouTube video as well.
Yeah. And I really would recommend you think about reading the book for sure. And even if this is not what you do, like even if you don't get into the whole course, you can stop yourself from going down these rabbit holes of just being angry and frustrated and whatever. But this program, this way of thinking is very well researched and it is effective. I have changed by using this.
Absolutely.
So on October 15th,
Too. I didn't mean absolutely.
you had changed. October 15th we're going to do another book, Handling Difficult People, Easy Instructions for Managing the Difficult People in Your Life by John P. Block.
It'll be interesting to see his advice versus the positive intelligence.
Yeah, it's a fun book because it labels people who are difficult in very interesting ways. So
Very
it's
judgy ways.
very judgy ways, but it's a lot of fun.
All right.
So
sounds
thanks
good.
for joining us for our talk about the sage and the saboteur in episode 145 of
No Room for Phonies.